with that is it humbles you. It humbles you if you know how to fight and you know how to fight. You're not the guy that's gonna be, hey man, you want to go at it? Because the truth is, you know how dangerous someone can be. Gang. All right. First of all, welcome back to Coach Neal's Corner. We're back here at the Don Polo Arena at Battle Arts Academy. And I have the esteemed pleasure and honor of hanging out with the ThiccBoy gang, the Thicc gang. Andrew Tyson, my man Boyan. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. It's been a while now that you've been here with working with us at Battle Arts, and you have your amazing shows. You've done 2 shows already.
Yeah.
Right? We're coming up to the 3rd.
Yeah, we got the 3rd one coming up, March 9th.
Yeah. We're going to promo that a little bit. So they've been around, known these guys for quite a while. And what I want to get into first, the idea of ThiccBoy. What is it?
Initially it kind of started off as like a joke. Like, during the lockdown, one thing that brought me together was martial arts and food, right? And so like, it was kind of funny at first until it like went a little longer where we realized like, oh wow, like this is really having an effect on us, not being able to train with the homies, not being able to go eat. And so we did it initially just like as a page to be funny, like promo gyms, promo restaurants. And then after that, man, just kind of took off from there.
He's skipping a step.
Yeah.
Kind of safe, but
Yeah,
we were sneaking around. We were sneaking around gyms during the lockdown and restaurants during the lockdown, and secretly training all the time and eating at restaurants. And we were having a good time when things were locked down. And everyone started calling us the ThiccBoy Fight Club because all we were doing was training, eating, eating. Started off with like we would do little chants, ThiccBoy Fight Club. This guy made one hoodie with one logo. It was just really for the homies.
Yeah.
And it's what's best about it is it's organic.
Yeah.
It really just took a life of its own. It seemed like a natural transition after doing merch to just do a show.
Yeah. I think so. A lot of times when I get guests on here, we talk about like the synergy of things coming together, like serendipity, right? And to me, this was such a serendipitous occurrence of how this kind of materialized. Because I was there, I was listening to you guys, and I'm naturally a ThiccBoy too, but it has so many aspects of this lifestyle, like the fact that the ThiccBoy lifestyle is a little bit like we don't follow the average person rules, right? Like we follow our own rules.
Because you're a wrestler.
Right? Is it because you're a wrestler or because you're a ThiccBoy? Like,
so this is the thing, like when I did this up here, like friends of mine back in Kansas City were laughing because like, oh, you've always been like this. And then but you realize like almost all high-level wrestlers have like an eating disorder.
Yeah, there we go.
Legit. So when you say you're a ThiccBoy, ask yourself, how many wrestlers do you know that haven't fluctuated 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Don't have like a weird, like unnatural relationship with food. And so we turned into something funny, but like genuinely, like from the jump, like when you start wrestling in high school and all the way up, you grew up wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so fighters understand it, even if you never wrestled, once you become a fighter, he wrestled later on, he became a fighter. Boxers understand, like anybody who's ever had to cut weight, like, and then knowing that feeling of like training hard and deserving that meal.
But you 100% develop an eating disorder.
Yeah, I still
Yeah,
of course.
And I think the tenet though is like how many wrestlers you know that after they're done competing, they just get really fat.
Or stay strong.
So, like,
it's one
or stay strong, yeah.
So we were like,
I did a little bit of both.
You train hard, you train hard, and you think easy.
You train hard and you think easy.
If we put in the work, we earn the meals.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we were doing it.
I feel it's a little deeper though. Like I feel like maybe you guys don't see it, but that's to me a sense of confidence in who you are. Right? You're confident and comfortable being ThiccBoys. At the same time, that gives you that confidence to live a lifestyle that you want to live. And I feel like it's more than that. To me, it's more than just a diet.
You've been here about us, right? And so one thing that like I've been doing training for like a long time, and one thing like years ago I kind of was doing like the regular training thing where I'm telling people to be this and this, and over time I just kind of realized like, oh, if this isn't something you can keep up, then it's unrealistic. And so like I literally tell people like, all right, we're gonna make this just harder while you train and enjoy your life outside. Everything makes it easier. I mean, I think a lot of people aren't fighters when they hear that kind of logic. Like, oh, okay, you're right. Like, I'd rather suffer in the gym than at the dinner table.
Right.
And so, like, a lot of people who never fought, like, were able to understand where it comes from because nobody wants to, like work hard and not be able to enjoy it after. Like I said, if you're on a diet, that's not, like, something you can do forever. So for us, it's like giving people a lifestyle that a lot of us fighters already understand. Like you stopped wrestling years ago. Look how hard you still want to train in the gym, and then you enjoy eating, right? So a lot of people like it's a message I don't think most people get in the fitness world. You know what I mean?
Even my big guys.
No.
We eat like.
Yeah,
I always say
100%.
I'm a fat kid at heart.
100%. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, and I feel like on top of that, so when you transition to having the confidence, then guys, to do shows, you know, to do like fights, like we'll talk more about like the fact that you still compete. You used to compete, you know, and are you still
I mean,
competing?
he just fought last year.
I fought last
Oh,
year.
you fought last year.
He just look at the grades, bro.
I'm old at it, man. Like, but like I said, like you know, this is kind of funny because the only reason I was done fighting actually years ago. Like if it wasn't for the lockdown, I probably wouldn't have fought last year. And a lot of it came from like I'd be training guys in like him in camp or like I'm the phrase guys, and guys are like, bro, like you're like basically like you can still fight. Like, if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have came back. Like, a lot of it has to do with just training with these guys and telling myself I'm never gonna stop training this hard. So when people ask me, "Oh, when's your next fight?" and assuming I'm a camp, it's like, nah, I'm actually just gonna keep doing this.
It's just a
long as-
lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm never gonna stop training.
Lifestyle.
Me and Tyson bad over ACL.
Yeah, it's true. I was helping him rehab his knee, right? I helped him rehab his knee.
We both had ACL reconstructive surgery and ended up at the UFC. Jim kind of like, you know, when fighters are injured, can't do that much. Maybe I'll just end up at the UFC gym, coaching some people, teaching some classes. We met there. I fought in Trinidad actually after he helped me recover from that surgery. And I think he realized like, fuck, he can still do it too.
That's really where it started. Was like those days, like in those camps where like we were kind of doing our own thing at our own gyms, and we'd always go eat after. So this is years before. This is years before. People knew us as all you guys do is jiu-jitsu and eat. Like this is like 2-3 years before ThiccBoy people knew us for that.
I think you guys are undermining yourselves a little bit. Like the average person cannot achieve a lifestyle that you guys do. Like let's be real. So you finished
A lot of sacrifice, man.
Right. And so first of all,
gosh.
you're independent business owners, right? You're entrepreneurs. Like tell that to the average 9-to-5 person. That's a challenge in itself, right?
True.
And then on top of that, you're in business that you love. Like you're doing things that you're passionate about, things that you spend hours doing.
Well, we've put in our time. I've traveled the world and fought. This guy had undefeated career in the States. We fought on a lot of promotions, and we just kind of were like, we already know how to do a good promotion. We've been on so many. We've got so many ideas to steal and other things that we could do better.
Yeah.
So why not do a show? You know, why not pimp the game instead of just fighting?
No, but it took a lot of hard times. Like when both of us have been through times where like, okay, maybe this is as far as I could go, but like I knew I was happy with my lifestyle. You always have those questions, but like when I met him, he wasn't at the level. He was at the same thing, right? And I always say, man, like martial arts is like a lifelong thing. Like to me, more so with people who aren't fighters. That's more what I'm trying to sell to people is the idea that like if you join a community of people, especially like I said during lockdown, because we've been doing jiu-jitsu together, we had like a community that a lot of people didn't have during that time, right? We see a lot of people like that were going through things and they were just attracted to that idea. You may never fight, you may never do it, but like
But you get to move and work.
man.
You get to build a tribe and socialize. You get to fight and do something hard. And I don't mean like you gotta actually go compete and fight, but like even doing a hard workout, a boxing session, or rolling jiu-jitsu, you're trying to strangle each other. You're getting like you're getting something out of that like fulfills you in many ways that the 9-to-5 and the Matrix life just can't.
So speak to the mental health aspect of that, right? Because what I'm hearing a community, and you go through challenges, and you challenge yourself every day. Like speak to the obvious fact of how much having that community strengthens your mental health.
Well, you're a coach. You know that one thing I think we can say young men, but all young people are lacking is like a trial process. You know, like some
resistance.
Yeah, like
something that makes their
an
life
initiation.
like,
I don't want to call it like, but you know, if you look at other cultures or like they have like an initiation process of like you becoming more like a man and this and that. So joining a gym, you can get a lot of that out, especially a fight gym.
Yeah.
You know? Especially wrestling, you know more than anything.
100%.
So I might have never made it to the UFC. Was like, this is what I was chasing. I'm sure he was too. But the blessings that I've gotten from even just pursuing that and challenging myself with martial arts, I'm proud of the life I live. I enjoy the life I live.
100%. And I think it takes a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. It takes a lot of courage and strength and mental fortitude to live the life you live. Right?
I mean, there's a lot of guys who like look at Sensei Joe Finelli.
Yeah.
legend here at
Yeah.
Battle Arts, right?
Yeah.
Guys like him, like he isn't in the age bracket where, you know, when I was a kid, there was no jiu-jitsu gyms. MMA wasn't a big thing. We kind of, our generation's kind of lucky. But then look at a guy like him. Like the majority of these gyms aren't being fueled by fighters. It's people who are 9 to 5.
100%.
And a big reason I stuck where I did, like I had a good degree. You know, I could have done a lot of things. And one thing that always made me stick was, you know, I'd be in a gym making a lot less than a guy, and I realized he wants to spend most of his free time in the gym training. Like the guys at 10 Planet, it's like 10:30. These guys don't want to go home.
Right.
And a lot of times they, you know, they spent their whole life making a lot of money or doing things, and being at the gym with us getting strangled is like the most fun they had, right? And that was something that always stuck with me. Like, oh man, like they're doing this. Like no matter how much money they have, this is what they look forward to. They love being around this. Like. And so that's something that was kind of stuck. And now that it's
profitable,
yeah, man. Like,
you realize health is the ultimate.
Yeah, man.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. So the mental health, the physical health, and the importance of the community that pushes you and maintains you. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times I'm in bed, I don't want to get up, but I know if I don't come and train, my boys are gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you know, like whether it's coach, get here, or teammate or whatever. Yeah. So we push each other and go push ourselves through those trials and tribulations to strengthen us physically and mentally. I love that, right? I love the fact too that you guys have grown your brand, right? Speak to that. Like I know you said it was kind of just a natural growth, but was there anything that you did that helped push the brand to where?
And to be honest with you, like we always talk about whether or not this would have been a thing during the lockdown, because this is something we were doing a long time, but like it really became more important to us then, right? And so, you know, I know for me, this is something I dedicated my life to a long time ago. Like I made a choice when I graduated that I was gonna forgo this lifestyle over, you know, maybe getting a better paying job. So, you know, we can't say for sure if all the attention that, because we had some negative attention during the lockdown that, you know, later on turned out to be good attention.
Yeah.
But
We had
at
some
the time,
pivotal moments that really pushed the brand, you know, like
the Adamson barbecue
Adamson
protest was a
barbecue,
big one.
supporting that barbecue,
That was-
zero shutting it down.
A lot of
and
hate.
even something as recently as like Henry Cejudo coming down here.
Yeah,
and
that
just
was so
loving
cool.
the vibe, and like we went out for steak and like, you know, him supporting the brand. So we've had some moments where when I say it's still organic, because it just like the right timing, and then people see it and it just kind of blows up from there. Keeps going.
All of our biggest moments were things that we would have been doing. Like I would have been supporting a barbecue place if we didn't have a brand. If Henry Cejudo came to do a seminar, I would have
love to steak anyway.
like these are all things we would have just did anyway. We just happen to have shirts and hoodies while we do it. And we throw even the fight promotion. I met him.
Yeah, I was throwing fights.
Yeah, for years. Yeah, he's talked about it
I
and
actually
wanted to do it.
started
Yeah.
promoting fights when I was in high school in backyards.
No.
I used to take.
Were you
beef.
one of those dudes?
If people had beef in high school, I'd be like, "Yo, don't fight after school. I'm gonna set it up. There's gonna be this day. We'll have it on Facebook."
You were a promoter from that.
And bro, when I came up here, like when he told me the crazy stories about what he had to go through to get fights, I remember I was like disappointed with, because I was born here but I moved to the States. I was like disappointed in Toronto. I was like, what do you mean you had
This
to
guy
go?
was spoiled for choice.
Yeah, and
This guy
like
could fight every weekend.
it became like a thing for me. Like when a lot of these guys want to come and fight and all these things. You know, I've been here now 7, 8 years. I remember being upset, like, man, why do guys have to do all this crazy stuff? So a big thing for us was like, I want these guys to have the same opportunity I had. His career would have went differently. He grew up where I did, and like I just saw his
Why
opportunity.
didn't you have it? I thought
Yeah.
once amateur, I went straight to pro.
Yeah,
There's
because there was no
amateur scene, and as you know, amateur MMA is still technically legal in Ontario.
That's
We don't put on amateur MMA shows. It's a fine line, but it's a similar sport. We put on penetration,
Yeah.
you know, and that's how we regulate it. And if you really think about it, we're just doing this for fun. You know, we would be doing it anyway. But we've put on, what was the first event? 19 fights. Second event was 24 fights.
Yeah, it's
That means
insane.
how many fighters is that we've given a platform? and
I was
opportunity
just
to
going there
be
next.
They don't have to
I
drive
was
to
going there
Ohio.
next.
They don't have to
What
drive to
is
New
the
York.
benefit? What is the benefits of the fights that you put on here for these young guys?
So,
If you want to go fight in an underground reserve for your first fight, and take your first amateur fighter who doesn't know if he even wants to do this for real. He hasn't even been hit for real. He's
Yeah.
gonna go.
That's not
he's gonna take
amateur.
him to-
That's survival.
That's what we have. Or you can, you know, I'm not throwing no shade on all of it, but you know, we're trying to put a sanctioned, safe event in the middle of the city that any fighter outside the GTA can come to. It doesn't have to go like drive 6-8 hours
Yeah.
or more to try to get.
The biggest thing for me was like keeping talent here in Ontario. Like one thing I noticed is we lose a lot of talent here because of these issues, right? So when I hear about, oh, this guy at TriStar, oh, he's actually from here, but he had to leave. Oh, this guy went to BC. Like, I saw a situation was like, how do we ever get to that level if we're not able to build these fights? Even a guy like Mike Malott who's fighting this weekend, he had to leave. People, if he knows this story.
Team Alpha Male.
He had to leave, develop somewhere else, and then he came back at the right time. But we've lost boxing. Boxing is one of the worst things. We have so many talented athletes out here that we lose to Montreal, lose these places, and me being from somewhere else, I just saw this like split between our talent.
And Toronto has so many people that we have a wealth of talent here that you can cultivate. And you can see the top gyms in Toronto. ASMA, Toronto top team, Naga top team,
Battle Arts,
of course.
Hey man, we got Ishmael. We're undefeated as a fight team.
Upcoming new gyms, 10th Planet, Battle Arts, now making a name for themselves.
Yeah.
You don't have to, besides me and Tyson, pro fighters out of the MMA gym fighters out of the gym yet. But look at these guys coming up so quick, and now all these gyms have an opportunity.
We got multiple guys fighting on the Unified card that trained both here and at 10th Planet, which. Years ago when I was here, it wasn't like that. You were driving all these distances. The only real place was Parabellum. And like I said, that was one of the few places that was keeping our talent in home. And then what's crazy is the lockdown kind of messed that up, right? And so that was another big thing was when that happened, our best gym in Ontario ended up dissipating. I was like, man, that's like years back before. Yeah. And then right then is when Michael Brakefield at 10 Planet, shout out to him, came. That's when we started developing what we had here. It was just the timing of it, man, because there was really one gym that was doing that, and the lockdown messed it up. A lot of people forget. Shout out to Rory McDonald, legend, absolute legend out here. And he would have been, if we would have been doing what we were doing 10 years ago, and he started coaching when he did, he would have had tons of guys lose. Like, it's a fact, right? One of his.
I'm a product.
Yeah, Mitch Gagnon is a former UFC fighter, and he's got guys fighting our cards, so it's like now full circle. And a guy like him, now he has the opportunity where he can have guys fight multiple times.
Do you want to drive 8 hours to Montreal, or do you want to drive 3-4 hours to Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto should be like eons ahead in terms of MMA.
So what's holding us back? Like, why can't we move forward?
Regulation, commission. It's the same in boxing.
Government overreach.
Same in
It's
boxing.
really what it's always been. I've been around, like, I was picketing in front of Queen's Park to try to get pro MMA. The guys flipped on the other several years ago, and the UFC was locked. But we got a huge weekend coming up.
Yeah, March 9th.
UFC Saturday.
Oh, this weekend. Oh,
this weekend. So
Unified Dana White's gonna be at the Unified Card. We got Nate Small fighting.
all these things play a part. All these things play a part. If you cultivate the local scene and you do your part, of course the UFC is gonna want to.
Yeah.
Of course, other big shows.
And that's another thing. We've lost a lot of UFC has the money to, because they do well when they come here, but they don't come here as often as they should because of regulation. Bellator used to come up here. We had WBC that stopped coming up here. Like, Ontario, Toronto is such a fight city, but because of all these issues, we're not able to get the respect we deserve. And like I said, man, I think we're gonna change that culture. If we throw 3 shows this year, that's 5 times somebody could have fought in Mississauga.
And let's announce something for this third show. Things are blowing up so quick. I just fought in Mexico not too long ago. On this show, we got 4 Mexican fighters coming.
No.
Yeah, one's like one of the best wrestlers. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, like, already on our 3rd show, we international, baby.
Yeah, we're throwing bangers, man. Like when these guys flash, like these guys when I remember like Ishmael, right? He didn't get to fight on our first card.
Yeah.
Because I've been around like long enough, I know when they would throw shows, it's like you don't know if this is a one and done thing, right? Is this gonna be a year? You got to fight on the second one. Now we have guys who it's like you don't have to go in there before you're ready, just because now they know we're serious. Yeah, man. I have a lot of guys who want to fight on this card that I'm telling them no. There's gonna be 2 more opportunities just here. We can still bring you out to other places in Montreal. Man, back when I met him, it was like if there was a show in Ontario, you did everything you could to get on that card. Yeah. Like I said, how many shows did you do that was the last one?
I haven't fought in Ontario since 2015.
Yeah, and then the amateur shows, right? Whether it was Ace, shout out to those guys, War of Gods, like, I mean, we've seen a lot of good shows that because of these issues weren't able to win. They were throwing good shows. High-level fighters on these shows, guys who were pro.
Did you see our last show, the main event for the title?
Oh, man, those could
have been a pro fight.
That could have been a UFC prelim.
That was beautiful.
Shout out to Jocelyn MMA, the guys at Trillium. They brought 2 killers out. And those are 2 guys who are pro level. And even our first show, we had a guy who, out of ages that, a lot of people thought he was ready to go pro.
Yeah.
And I always said, like, I got 10 amateur fights. He got 1 amateur fight and then went pro. sometimes you need more amateur fights to realize, oh, maybe I need more work. And so we're having guys who, if it wasn't for us, would go pro.
Yeah.
And you know, if you take a loss, it's a good thing to take the loss now. I say that all the time, but like,
And
take the loss now and move on, man.
we're trying to provide a product to these fighters as well, right? Amateurs, not getting paid to fight. But it comes in two ways. We want the young guys that are coming up that need like the experience. They need to test themselves out before they take the further step. And on the complete other end of the spectrum, we have like the bucket listers.
Yeah.
Weekend
The
warriors.
guys that are weekend warriors. This is their chance.
Been a pro about
This is
10
their-
years.
This is their
Yeah,
UFC. They get to prove their platinum that they've had and all that stuff. So they can come out and everything in between. And ThiccBoy Fight Club, just like we've always been inclusive,
Yeah.
like ThiccBoy Fight Club was the show, the promotion.
And thank you
is
for bringing this up.
inclusive.
And this is another thing that used to bother me, and it still does. No, this is no disrespect, but like when I moved up here, like there's way more like traditional martial arts shit. No disrespect to traditional martial arts, like obviously jiu-jitsu is, but like I mean like kung fu, like stuff that like years ago where I'm from
Yeah.
was eliminated. A lot of that had to do with when MMA became popular. Where I'm from, like every month you can get a fight in Kansas, Missouri, almost.
That's wild.
We have so many shows. A lot of these gyms got exposed and that kind of nonsense went away. Here in Toronto, because of this issue where guys aren't getting to prove it,
The
you have
right
a-
gyms are gonna get the credit they deserve.
yeah, there's shows that there's guys going
Legends,
4
all these guys are gonna get the
high-level fighters.
and there are.
Yeah.
And it's showing that which gyms are legit.
It's gonna get rid of the
which
nonsense.
gyms.
And I got a sense of that. I got a sense of that at the last fight.
People are finding out, oh,
Yeah,
this, my,
yeah.
my sensei's a
Yeah, my
teach me
sense.
bullshit.
Yeah. I
Hold
saw.
up.
I saw. Some
I need to go to
dudes-
Battle Arts 10 Planet.
I saw some dudes show up, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like
There's
I didn't know
levels.
those dudes had it like that. Yeah, and that's.
Yeah.
And this is the place to find out, right here, where we put the cage.
Yeah. And speaking
Better for
to
the community as a whole.
yeah, speaking to the bucket lister guys, like that's important too in society. Like people don't understand it's okay to get into a fight, right? Like or not. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
It's,
okay, it
it's
is.
okay. It's okay to know how to defend yourself and have experience in fighting. Because if the situation occurs where you find yourself in a fight, it's good to know you can fight.
Brother, without the bucket listers, none of this would exist. It's mostly older fans that keep these young our sports going. It's how we fill our gyms. So
Hey, it's good not to be miscellaneous.
Okay, so,
yeah, man.
so hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm trying to say.
One of the things that respected as a man from the age of 70 to
Right.
your child is the capability for violence.
Where I was going with that is it humbles you. It humbles you if you know how to fight and you know how to fight. You're not the guy that's gonna
I'm not
be, hey
trying
man,
to get
you
no
want to
street
go at
fight,
it?
man.
Because the truth is, you know how dangerous someone can be. It's respect. You gotta respect.
And you get it out. That's not
And you
thing
get
I'm
it
trying-
out.
That's not
And
reason
you get
for
it
trying
out.
to push me into this
Doesn't every
lifestyle.
trigger session, if you do it right, both empower you and humble you at the same time?
100%.
You should take an L from somebody. You should,
I do jiu-jitsu rolls and I smash huge guys and
Bro.
I feel like a giant
Yeah.
and I get wrapped up and choked out and I just get humbled
I know the
right
feeling
back down.
personally from rolling with both of you, so I get it,
I
100%.
can tell you this for a fact,
Yeah.
right? In like for me in business, this is something I've noticed that like you can attest this because of this interaction we have. Where like you'll meet a stranger, dab and they try to kill each other.
Yeah.
When you meet a lot of other people, it's easier to network. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but most people who are part of these communities understand that, and that's something I've taken away from training. That like sometimes I don't realize like, oh, for most people, it's hard for them to build a connection with a stranger. Literally
Yes.
every week,
Listen,
I
I don't
will
think
meet someone for the first time. Do this, and then we try to kill each other.
Yeah.
So you think it's hard to like talk to somebody normal or talk to somebody about business? And I know he's gained that same type of confidence. You just
Gives you
realize that
confidence,
you're
for
more
sure.
I'm not giving anyone any education advice, but I would say I am way more successful in the business I had from the school and when I went on the mats
100%.
than all the money I wasted at university.
100%.
And, you know, when people ask me what did you study at the University of Toronto, I tell them wrestling. That's probably what I
Best
the most valuable
Best decision you ever made.
100%.
wrestling.
I find, especially today's society with a lot of keyboard warriors and a lot of people who are, like behind screens, they're losing the connection.
Yeah.
And they're losing the art of connecting, right? And then you come in here and you're sweating on top of someone. You realize like it's not bad to even just give a dude a hug or give a dude a high five. You know what I'm saying? Like
You can sit at home,
Tack that.
Uber Eats, you can play video games, pretend you have violence, you can jerk off. Like you don't have to ever leave the prison. You know what I mean?
This
Like,
is why
come
the
to
lockdown
the
thing was
gym,
such a big
you know?
deal. Like he knows people
Yeah.
personally that like
Yeah.
we know guys who like there's people going through depression over
Right.
and we've talked about this a lot. Like oh man, the gym is the one place where like some people the reason they got away from drugs, got away from the streets, like the gym is the one place where everything from a police officer to a criminal, a judge, a cop, or whoever.
You're the one that said that. This guy used to say, drop me in any city, put me in a gym,
Yeah.
and in a couple months, I'll have connections for everything.
Everything.
I'll have police friends, I'll have
The other side.
the other side.
But there's a lot of people
I'll have
who
a
like,
mechanic,
this is
I'll
what
have
saved
this, I'll
them.
have
And so we
barber.
know a lot of guys in the fight community, you know, there's a whole bunch in those few years that like fell off on the wrong side because this was taken away from them. So for me, that was another thing, like an eye opener, like, oh wow, like, you know, I was a real troublesome kid that started wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Joel Rios that shot me, like,
Shout
things
out
like
to
that.
Leon Edwards.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's things like that like, it was real crazy watching some of the stuff some of our friends were going through. Like, it was bad. And you realize, like, oh, this is what saved you from being overdosed 10 years ago or being on the streets. And so that was big for us. It's like, you know, being reminding people, people locked up,
Real talk, like during lockdown, I felt like I was triggered easier than most because I saw what was being taken away from all the kids I coach, from all the people that I train. I saw what, and the average person who just goes to work every day or just, you know, is now excited about sitting at home.
They don't see them.
They don't see what's being taken away. And for me, it was very, it was hard.
Well, to me, it was
Right?
like, you'll call us selfish. We want to go train our friends, but like, I think it's more selfish to enjoy your whole high school life, your whole college life, and then take that from somebody else because you're scared. Like, at least you got to have that. Like you said, we're around kids. We're around all, like, you know, since I've been here, I've been in gyms where there's kids programs, kids in high school, college, and watching, I was like, oh man, this is
How
a
is
big
it not
effect.
evil to not allow kids to
Like, yeah, man. And
play?
that's-
Play.
As a wrestling coach, how many of these kids never got their like? I think about like me, my senior high school. If that would happen, that would have such a different trajectory on my life.
If you heard me, I was prepping a team
National
at the right time.
Yeah.
We were ready for that winter. We were going into the nationals and we were gonna dominate. And then they just pull it right now. I was
man,
devastated.
You
Anyway,
never get that back, right?
yeah.
So
These poor kids, they lost those 2 years. But listen, moving on, because I mean that was the past and it was tough. But I love the fact that how we've rebounded back to the point where you guys are saying you're now building up this awesome business, and now we have the UFC. Like, how do we capitalize now and grow this even more? Like on top, like you guys are doing an amazing job, right? So what's next? Like you have 1, 2, 3 shows a year. Where do you see it going? Like I think you guys should become fight managers, to be honest with you.
yeah, everyone's just talking that.
Like, let's go.
Because everyone wants to take these international trips.
And they see the lifestyle. They want the big boy lifestyle.
And to me,
yeah.
I'll put it this way: like we've talked about this a lot, right? I like when I first started as an amateur, I was training guys like Rob Kimmons, who was in the UFC right away, and you know he's been around a lot of these type of guys. And what you realize is, unless you make it to a certain level, if you don't know how to leverage all these years of hard work, a lot of times your life goes backwards. Right? Like, I know a lot of guys that made it to UFC that now that you know I was able to start my business earlier. Biggest thing I want to do is give these young guys a game. There's a lot of guys who have just as much ability as me because maybe they didn't leverage it the same. Aren't where we are, right? Like he knows tons of guys the same way.
I consider myself like one of the best. I'm sure he does too. You know, all fighters don't think delusional, but we didn't even make it. You know what I mean? So very few people are gonna make it to the UFC. So shout out to like all the guys we do know, Series City this weekend, Jasmine,
Yeah, man.
Mike Bola, Malcolm Gordon. You know, these are huge to see people from our area make it.
Yeah,
So
repping
few
the
of us
six,
do.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's not what we really should be pushing. It's like just this lifestyle and this training, you're gonna achieve so much. It doesn't have to be a professional.
You should have to love it, man. I don't think your goal should just be able to go to the UFC. If you don't actually love martial arts, I think a lot of times it's the wrong move. And I think because so many guys don't get the opportunity to do what we're doing for them now, where they get to fight. Like, you know, if you're traveling all these crazy places, there's a lot of guys who go pro that probably never should have, right? And he can attest to tons of guys like this. And for me, it's like I want to see more people like getting something out of this because this sport is nothing nice. We're very lucky that we've left with all our cognitive abilities, you know, knee injuries and all. Like we know a lot of guys who can't say that. I know guys who never went pro at 20 amateur fights that aren't right. And so my biggest thing is I want to see, now that I'm older and I see the effects of this if you don't go about it the right way, I just want to see guys do it the right way. Get something out of this when you're done, man. Be a lifelong martial artist. Continue doing jiu-jitsu. Get that black belt. Like, that's what I'm on, right?
Stay healthy for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Stay
that's right.
dangerous. Stay disciplined. Stay hard work.
Take all
And
those
then you
good
can think
things,
easy
man.
and eat as much as you want.
So
You're
full
a
circle.
wrestler, right?
Yeah.
How many wrestlers do you know that maybe you're not competing every week, but if you just stay disciplined, your life will be better.
Yeah,
You lose that.
100%.
My whole thing is never stop it. If you decide to be a fighter and risk all the things that come with it, take all those lessons and keep it. You shouldn't just end your fight career now. That's it. Get fat. Like, keep that discipline with you. It's freedom.
To your point, a lot of guys who are at that high level and train at such a high level and they stop and then they get fat and out of shape. Not just depression, but it's risk of heart attack is huge.
Oh yeah, especially eating tissue. I make jokes there, bro. It's a problem. Like what we do to our body isn't good.
Not just eating, but your body's used to producing like X amount of hormones and blood and stuff, and then you slow that down to a halt. Your body doesn't know how to function, right? And then it breaks down. I've seen it. Rest in peace, friends who've passed because of it. But let's go full circle. What makes you love it? What makes you still love it?
To be honest with you, like as a kid, like I guess that's not always new.
It's a food.
It's the food for sure, but I kind of always knew I wanted to be a fighter. I don't know how to explain it. Like from a young age, I was getting a lot of fights. I always wanted to do martial arts. It was always a thing. And so, like I said, when I stopped fighting, like my biggest thing was eating, right? Like when I had a camp done, my biggest thing was gaining that 20, 30 pounds, hiding from my wrestling coach, like the tournaments. I'll see you Monday, I don't know what it is. And I realized like, as long as I like keep up the same discipline, I don't have to cut weight now. I get the best part of it. I get the hard work, the endorphins, the discipline, and I get to eat whatever I want all the time. So that's what I love about it. It's like I kept that same discipline that I haven't kept. That's why most people still think I'm training for a fight. Or like I'm training twice a day, sometimes 3-4 times a week. That's how guys in fight camp train. This is gonna be my lifestyle.
I take him to the camps and put some work on guys that are supposed to be fighting for 2-3 weeks.
So how about you? What makes you love it still?
I'm just gonna quote something that comes to my mind from Rory McDonald. Shout out. He used to always tell me like, I have to ask a lot of guys, why do we fight? What's your why? Because there's guys that you're gonna be fighting from Brazil that are crawling to get out of the favela and like are fighting for a meal. So like, what is your why? Because boy, I don't really have to ask you your why. It's like, this is just who you are. I know that about myself forever. I know.
Wow, that's heavy. Transitioning from that, like, what does it mean to have UFC back in the six? What does that mean? Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of full circle.
I'm happy for all the guys that are fighting on the card.
What's most important is all the guys that know over the years that have put in all this time, and now they're finally get to show it. Mike Polon's gonna lead the charge.
Yeah.
There's always obviously the French Canadians. I don't know them on a personal level, but Canada's Canada. But we're talking about guys that are from here. Jasmine and gals. Jasmine, Jasuda Vicious, Malcolm Gordon. And seriously, I remember sparring with that kid when he was like 15, 16 years old when he was a kid. And I think I gave him one of his like first amateur fights when I was promoting back in the day. To see him make his UFC debut, I think that's more special. I'm looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to the main card, like
That's
the main event.
And I think that's the beauty of it, is if you can appreciate the whole thing and the experience and have it on such a personal note too, that's huge. And then we're gonna end off because I mean, you guys, this is awesome. But what are your thoughts, Strickland or Duplessis? First,
I want
what do you
Strickland.
guys think?
I want Strickland to win. Because he looks in a bad match.
Really?
But I'm gonna go Strickland decision.
Really? You think he's gonna go to a decision?
Yeah.
Really?
So I want Strickland to win too. I think it's gonna be a knock. I don't think these two guys can fight for 25 minutes against each other. After a while, I've like discounted Duplessis almost every fight leading up to this, especially the Robert Whittaker fight. So I don't think a guy who's able to finish Whittaker that way, that violently, is gonna be able to fight a guy like Strickland in the last 25 minutes, unless he finishes him. So I really believe, like a lot of people are knocking the card, especially how much it was costing to go. But this is a good main event fight. But I will say this. I think it's really just going to come down to who lands that hard punch. I really do think I'm hoping it's Strickland. And then we get to see him versus Hamza. And then Hamza versus Bo Nickal. The wrestlers will come back. The wrestling will, I'm hyped for this division after this fight because now there's some real good matches. Hamza, Bo Nickal are up next, so I hope it's Strickland. I think it'll be a more fun lead up to all these other fights. For sure.
But I heard Izzy's here too.
At Pereira, there's a lot of guys talking about. So,
well, guys,
busy fighting.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm truly grateful for all the work you guys put in. I've been lucky enough to see it. Like I remember us back in the factory, and you talking about you wanna put on some events and so on and so forth, and then now to see where we're at, it's just a testament to the fact that if you build it, you know, they'll come. If you believe in it, you can build it, that kind of thing. And it's an amazing thing to watch. I'm so happy, and I love the success you guys are having. And I love the fact that you're doing it with the right purpose, and your purpose is to give opportunities to young guys and young girls so that they can just enjoy the journey. Like, that's amazing. So hats off to you guys, brother. Keep doing your thing, man. I'm so proud of you guys.
Thanks,
Keep hustling. Keep
See
hustling.
us at Unified. We're gonna be at Unified January 19th.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
Dana White's gonna be at that at Rebel, and then we're watching the fights January 20th here at Battle Arts Academy. Come bring ThiccBoy. We got Vito's Pizza, we got Chaz. Winner gets 2 free tickets to the ThiccBoy Fight Night March 9th. So come check us out.
Right. And that's Coach Neal's corner. I was about to say that's ThiccBoy.
Yeah, throw it up.
Let's go. Coach Neal's corner. We out.